Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, and the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. Now, Chinese pens again. I got another review from another Majohn pen. I think Majohn is probably the most active these days or this year in terms of presenting new offerings. There's several of them that are recycling or remodeling of the same model, if you will. So we're not getting, extremely unique or different offerings, but we're getting at least some offerings. Wing Sung is kind of quiet. Pen BBS, we know for a while, has been very quiet. If they put out one pen per year, we're lucky. Dieman is a question mark. There's not much coming out of there. And AdMock is active, brings along different models from time to time. And Asvine, I heard about of Asvine 100, but I'm not sure whether that's in the making or someone's imagination. Having said that, I've got a brand new Majohn C4 to present to you. So without any further ado, Fountain Pen Therapy presents the new Majohn C4. So here is the new pen, Majohn C4. It's a model that we've seen before, but we saw that model in an acrylic, transparent acrylic, that I found very, very nice. Majohn does have these wonderful transparent demonstrators where the acrylic is really high quality. It's almost as if you're looking through, a magnifying glass. Really nice. Really nice, and they have this type of demonstrator acrylic, transparent acrylic in various models. But this time they've come out with a completely different new concept here. Now, I guess this is resin or acrylic. What's fun about it is there's this Guilloché pattern there that you see, which is fun. They state that it's machined and then handcrafted, I guess polished. So there you have it. It's kind of a striped Guilloché motif there. It's got a center band where there's not much going on, basically Majohn and not much else. It would have been nice if they just added C4 there. The clip, that's very controversial. Many people hate it. I don't. It's a stubby, short clip that probably is not meant to, clip anything. But it is the logo of Moonman. So that's where that comes from. Now, this pen is a eyedropper and with a piston mechanism that serves as a shutoff valve. So you could see it in the transparent version there. You fill the pen through the top, a little bit like Opus 88. So you remove this part and you fill in, eyedropper it, and then there is a piston there that serves as a shut-off valve right there. Now it's red, you don't see it properly, but you can see it there. And when you close it, you turn it, it shuts off, and the ink no longer goes through the feed, the nib mechanism, the feed, and and when you're traveling, it serves as a shut-off valve essentially. You can't see it in this new Guilloché, but it is the same system. Now, let's see, basically cigar-shaped, kind of the knobby parts here are not, they don't, let me just remove this so the camera focuses better. It's kind of roundish finials, if you will, as opposed to more cigar or more pointed finials. Classic shape. Let's see how many turns to remove the cap. That's 1, 1.25, that's 1.5, 2, 2.25, 2.5. It has a Moonman nib, and you can see the Moonman branded right there, the logo, which mimics, which is reproduced, if you will, on the clip. Chose a medium. I know that these Moonman nibs also come in a 1.1 stub, but the particular seller did not offer it. They only offered it in extra fine, fine, and medium, so I went with the medium. We've seen these Moonman nibs before. They are, generally speaking, good nibs. Nothing spectacular, but efficient nibs, plastic feed. And the way you fill the pen is that you remove the top part here, and it's got an O-ring, and essentially it did come, I didn't buy it with the box, but it did come in a plastic wrapping with its, just a eyedropper, I guess, pump, if you will, and with some instructions on how to fill it. And that's it. You put the ink in there, and then there's a shut-off valve there that goes up and down. And if you want to shut it off, you close it up. So you got to remember to once in a while open it up so let the ink flow into the nib system. Otherwise, it'll dry up on you. But if you're traveling, it's a nice security feature. There you go. So caps fairly well. It's nice, smooth. Everything is well integrated. Even the piston here, you can hardly see the open, the separation here, and it's when you to the touch, you can hardly feel it. Nothing, sticking out. Very nicely integrated. What do we have in the? Let's look at what's in there. Yeah, you can see there's kind of a plastic liner in there, and there's also a step to secure the sealing of the pen. I've never had a problem with the demonstrator version, and you could see the step up there. It's not properly closed here. Here we go. But you can see how it kind of seals right there. And I would imagine that that's been reproduced in this black Guilloché version of the pen. I think we've covered all the design and features of the pen. So let's do some comparisons. Be right back. Okay, so we're back with some pens that I've chosen. You have here, I chose this one, the Lotus Wave, because of the pattern. I think the pattern on this pen is a little more elaborate. And this is, Lotus, they have beautiful black ebonite that they use in their pens. So it's a more expensive pen, obviously, but so to compare it. So that's the Lotus Wave. This is a recently purchased Yongsu 296, and I chose it because it too has kind of a guilloché pattern in it. But I don't like the acrylic of this pen. Very cheap feel, very cheap looking. Basically plastic. I prefer, frankly, the new Majohn C4. This is also a recently purchased pen. Again, some wave patterns which make things fun. This is a Young Sheng, forget the number, but recently reviewed on one of my recaps. I love this pen. There you have it. There is the subject pen. Of course, Majohn has come up with a couple of offerings that have, patterns in them, different types of patterns. This is the brand new P141, which has this stripe pattern here again. So it looks like they're into guilloché or striping their, their finishes, which is a nice touch. And of course, this is the pen we've already seen, the demonstrator version of the C4. So there are the pens capped and not posted. Here are the pens uncapped and unposted, and you can see that the C4 is slightly smaller than the others, except for this Yongsheng pen here. It's it's quite a big pen. I wouldn't say it's medium. It's a little bit bigger. It's a large, not as big as the 149 clone here, the P141, but almost. It's just a few millimeters difference there, as you can see, and it's practically the same size as these two. So there you have the pens uncapped and unposted. Now, in terms of posting, no, this is the wrong one. I don't believe this pen posts properly. You can see it's you can jam it in there, I guess, and live with not a very secure posting. So I don't consider this pen as a poster. I really don't. It doesn't post properly. You have to really jam it in, and then you start scratching it. So I'm not going to go through a posting. And even if you do manage to post it, it just sits there, and it becomes overly long and ridiculous, and eventually will just loosen up and fall on you. So I don't think this pen posts. That it makes a difference for you guys, then buyer beware, as they say. So there's the comparison. We'll put up some measurements, and then we'll do a writing sample. Be right back. Okay, so we're back for the writing sample. So I got Crenna notebook, my favorite paper right now. This paper is, and I'm going to keep repeating it, this paper has taken over my life in terms of fountain pen writing. I've got many of these notebooks. They're Crenna paper, Star Rainbow. Make sure it's the Star Rainbow, and the R2, the second version. Hopefully it'll become a little more mainstream. You can find this paper either on Taobao, the Chinese site that's a little messy in terms of ordering and setting it up, or Superbuy is selling it as well. And hopefully, and once in a while, I understand it also appears in AliExpress, but I haven't seen it yet. I know there's some other retailers that so-and-so have Crenna products, but it's not quite this one. Hopefully they will get this eventually. And Ink Forge Works also did sell Crenna notebooks. I'm not sure that they've still carry them, but that's my notebook of choice these days. It's taken over, and I think it's better than the Tomoe River number 7 machine paper, imagine. So that's the notebook. Again, another plug for Crenna. They should hire me, actually. The ink I'm going to go with is this black ostrich ink. This ink has been included in many of my recent purchases of Chinese pens, and I thought I'd give it a go. In terms of a swatch, I just swatched it right before the review, but look how black that is. That is a real nice black. It's probably the darkest black ink that I have in my collection. So I'm looking forward to see how it writes on this Majohn. It took a little while for the ink to go down to the nib section, but it does fairly quickly. Nothing unusual there. So I'm pleased with that. I'm not going to post the pen. First of all, we'll date this. The day that I reviewed or prepared this review was the 23rd of August, 2026. And this is the Majohn C4 Black. The nib is a number 6 steel Moonman medium nib. And I can tell you folks, it's perfectly smooth. So we'll start with that in a second. Ink, it's ostrich, which I understand is a recognized Chinese ink brand, black. So let's look at the nib. Smoothness, 10 on 10, folks. Very, very, that's me, smooth. You can hardly hear any feedback. Wetness. It's a good medium. Not too thin, not too thick. But I would say to you that it is fairly wet. Okay? So not very, very wet, but very wet. Bounce, not applicable. Very stiff. So you don't get any line variation whatsoever. Very stiff. Flow, and by that I mean consistency, very, very consistent. No hard starts, no skipping, no matter what direction you go. This pen just follows you wherever you go, so to speak. Reverse writing, very doable, actually. I give it 8.5 on 10. Just a slight scratchy feeling, but nothing disastrous. And it gives you, I believe, an extra fine line. For those of you who like this sort of stuff. Okay? That's it. Then let's look at likes and dislikes. Well, I like the build quality of this pen. The design is fine. You know, there's nothing. It's a classic cigar-shaped design, nothing overwhelming, but very done well. The nib is smooth and consistent. I like the pattern. Okay, it gives it a nice touch. In terms of dislikes, I mean, there's, you know, for those of you, I don't post my pens, but there is no posting. Some of you might find that the filling system is a little cumbersome because you've got to remove the section and eyedropper the pen. But for the, you know, fountain pen enthusiast, that's not a big deal. And there's quite a bit of ink in that chamber. So when you fill it up, you're good to go for a long while. So in terms of price, this pen at the time of purchase I just looked it up. I paid for it $51.68 Canadian. It's not too bad, but it's not Jinhao pricing. But I've seen Admoc charge, and other Chinese brands charge $60, $70, $80, $90 for a pen that's probably not even as good as this one. One of the examples was that Yongsu or Xu that I showed you earlier. This pen cost me more than this one, and frankly, I like the nib on this pen. It's just the acrylic I don't like, but frankly, this pen is much cheaper. So the price is okay. Nothing. There's no gifts there. Jinhao gives us the gifts, I think. Overall, look, if you do have the demonstrator, unless you hate demonstrators, I would prefer the demonstrator, frankly. But some people prefer a more classic black look rather than this kind of style. I like the acrylic on this one. This is one of my favorite pens. So we could add that some people might be turned off by the clip. Okay. But other than that, there you have it. I think it's a nice pen to add to your collection. Is it one that I would recommend? Not if you already have the C4 in that acrylic finish, and not unless you really dislike the demo and want to get a nice black version. But this is a classic looking pen. You can use it in all respects, and in that regard, is it a go-to pen? Every day? Absolutely. I would give it a 10 on 10. The pen feels right. The comfort is really nice. Nice step up there to keep your fingers from going onto the nib. The machining here is done very nicely. It doesn't affect you at all. Long writing sessions, it's got a nice shape, nice weight to it. The material is substantive. It's not plasticky like this guy. Okay, and so you feel like you do have similar feel, frankly, to this demonstrator. Feel like you're holding something substantive without being necessarily overweight. So there you have it, fountain pen therapy. I'd give this pen an 8.5 on 10. The nib is not bouncy, but it's efficient, does its job. So there you have it. That's my review of the new Majohn C4 in this Guilloché black version. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that. So if you're thinking about whether or not that pen should form part of your collection, there's a review. I've given you all the highlights. Again, if you own the C4 demo, unless you really want the black, coated black pen, which is a more classic looking writing instrument, I wouldn't spend the additional $51 on it. There may be other priorities for you. But, if you're like me, want to add to your collection and thinking about whether or not it would be foolish of you to purchase this one and you can afford it, no, you go for it. It's a nice pen to have. But again, if you're looking at priorities and don't want to spend your money foolishly like I do, and you don't own a YouTube channel or you don't run one, you don't need to buy this pen. Okay? And if you don't have a C4, then I would recommend it. It's a nice pen for $50. Let me tell you, very difficult to find a non-Chinese pen at $50. So there you have it. Thank you very much for joining this review. If you haven't subscribed, please do. My channel does one weekly recap, very lengthy. I go over ink swatching, we do paper, we look at the market, we look at YouTube reviews that are of interest. And you know what? I have some pen hauls every week. I try to present new pens. We revisit some of the old pens, and we set up our weapons for the following week, so to speak. So it gives you a look at many, many pens in my collection for you to take a look at and wonder whether or not you should embark on the purchase of any of them. So you get lots of variety in my recap, my weekly show, if you will, which airs on Sunday mornings. And at least one pen review per week, or some kind of a blog review and comparison review, etc. Sometimes we'll throw that in, an ink swatching or an ink review and a paper review once in a while as well. If you're interested, please subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. It just alerts you when one of my videos goes up. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Enjoy your pens, your ink, and your paper. Ciao.